On today's show.
Oh boy, is Russell Westbrook the biggest all-star snub in NBA history? And does it even matter?
We discuss all the Knicks drama and if they actually didn't get a last-second shot off because of a Wizards assistant coach.
And a man named Kelly cracks our top 10 plays of the week.
It's Friday, January 20th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to The Starters. Whether you're joining us live right now on NBA TV or later on YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
Friday is better than Thursday.
To his right, it's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, that's Lee Ellis.
Friends.
And last, certainly not least, it's our very hydrated coworker, Walter. Hey, how's it going?
Well, I was watching your show yesterday. I saw that dude Trey was asking about the weirdest in-game promotions anybody's ever seen, and well, I think I saw one that might make the list because I was watching the Heat last night. This girl won a free hotel stay, and then she had a door dropped on her head.
Wow.
Ooh.
Is she okay?
Yeah, she's okay. Like you see, she won a hotel stay. She is doing fine, but let me tell you, as an HR rep, the Miami Heat are gonna be getting calls from OSHA because that is definitely a safety violation.
Sure.
But I know you guys like to keep the fans involved, so I would say if you have any thoughts on like all-star starters, feel free to tweet them in, use hashtag the starters, or follow me on Twitter at Walter T. Cooler. And remember, hydrate!
Okay, awesome. We got a fun show tonight.
She better have gone through concussion protocol for
I hope
sure.
so. I hope she's all right. We've got worst of the week. Maybe that's it. I don't know. It's possible. We got the top 10 plays of the week. But last night, big news, obviously. The all-star starters were revealed on TNT. Here are your 5 starters in the East. And this is, keep in mind here, the fan vote, the player vote, and the media votes all together. Kyrie Irving, DeMar DeRozan, LeBron James, the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Jimmy Butler. In the West, Steph Curry, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis. So, obviously big news today. What are they talking about around the water cooler, Walter, when it comes to the NBA All-Star starters picks?
So I was talking notebooks with my boy Bump, and we got talking about these all-star starters, and we thought it's just insane that Russell Westbrook is not starting. The guy's averaging a triple-double, but we got talking about the biggest snubs ever, and honestly, Bump convinced me that Russell Westbrook is the biggest all-star snub in history, ever.
He's not a snub.
Ever.
He's not a snub because he's making the All-Star
Yes.
team. The word snub means you're not making the team. So yes, 12 hours later, we're all fussy about it. Mr. Bump is making notes in his notebook, but really doesn't matter. Russell Westbrook is going to be on the team. He is going to be with everyone else. He's not going to be announced as a starter, but I don't think it necessarily matters. He should have been there, even though Steph Curry has had a good year and is the reigning MVP 2 times over.
Yeah.
But what's the big deal when it comes down to it?
Next Friday, we're going to be sitting here and talking about real snubs when it comes to who didn't even make the team.
Yeah.
That's the real snub. Westbrook's going to be there. I've said this before on the Drop podcast this morning. No one, when they argue about all-star selections, ever do they go, yeah, but how many did he start? Oh, Kevin Garnett, he made 15 all-star games, but how many did he start? No one ever does that. No. It's just whether you were an all-star, and of course at the end of the year, whether you were an all-NBA. So, yeah, it's weird to have a guy averaging a triple-double not ultimately be in that starting 5, but he's going to play a lot of minutes in the all-star game, and he's probably going to go for his 3rd straight all-star MVP, because if anything, this will just make the guy more angry. So, yeah.
I mean, you say nobody cares about it when you're counting your history and you look back at a player's career, but obviously it's still a pride thing that you want to start because it still feels like I am one of the best players.
Well, they asked Westbrook about it today, and he said, I'm not playing for all-star bids or all-star starting spots. I'm playing for championships. He didn't seem that upset by it.
Occasionally, though, players don't always, tell you.
lay it all on the line.
Exactly, yeah. But look, there's 2 spots. There's 2 guard spots. And the 2-time MVP, as you mentioned, is one of them. And James Harden, who's having an unbelievable season and is probably the favourite to win the MVP this season, is the other guy who's starting. I mean, Russell, as you mentioned, he's going to be playing there. But Steph Curry is having an incredible season. Not as good as last year statistically, but his team is 36-6 as well. The Warriors absolutely deserve at least 1 and definitely 2
and you saw the crazy breakdown, of course, on TNT last night, like how this all comes about. It's not, in the end, Curry is starting because of the fans. the fans voted.
Yeah, they got the tiebreak.
They voted for him more than Westbrook, and the tiebreak came into play here because of obviously who the players in the media were voting for. Westbrook ahead of him, and that's just the way it is.
You know what's different for Westbrook than it would have been in years past if he wasn't voted in? He knows that the media and the players both voted for him to start in this All-Star game as the best guard in the Western Conference. That's a nice little pat on the back to know that your players gave you number one. Does he care about the media so much? Probably not.
No.
But the fact that his peers said he's number one, that's different than just a popularity contest.
Yeah.
And I think, he didn't lay it all on the line. Nobody necessarily does. But at the same time, I think his anger was tempered a little bit because he knows his boys voted for him. Right?
He's top two in the player and the media. I think
was
maybe
number one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Top
Harden
two
was
starting.
two,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're absolutely right. But I think a bigger snub, honestly, from the starting selections, it might be Kyle Lowry in the East. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Raptors fan and I'm a huge Lowry fan. Seriously, and I say that because Lowry finished 5th among East guards in the fan vote, 5th among his fellow players, which shocked me a little bit, quite frankly, and 4th among the media. So, I mean, that's a real snub. He wasn't even in any of these three categories top two.
Yeah.
And his teammate DeMar DeRozan obviously getting the nod.
Another great player who definitely
all.
qualifies for that position. But again, I had Kyrie Irving in my team, and I'm not disappointed with that.
Sure.
He finished number one amongst the players as well. So Kyrie Irving definitely has that respect amongst his peers. And Kyle Lowry, he's having a great season. His team's doing really well, but I think Kyrie Irving's having a great season as well.
Kyle Lowry's, okay, I mean, I know it was a different voting system, and we'll get into that. Kyle Lowry started last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's having a much better year than he was even having last year. His team obviously still one of the better teams in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's perplexing to me. Again, just how low he was in all of the rankings. Maybe that he didn't make it, but he wasn't even in a tiebreaker situation.
Bieber didn't have the power
I guess
this
so,
year
yeah.
that he
Biebs
didn't
got
have
it
He got
last
it wrong
year.
though, didn't he, Beaver? Didn't he tweet it the wrong thing?
Yeah, he had a typo.
Yeah.
All right, so what else? What are they saying there, Walter?
Well, I was over on the 4th floor running some numbers with Neelam. She tells me they're up, by the way. Ballin'! But we started chatting about all-star numbers and how the fans don't even get to pick the starters now, and how you gotta use math to even figure out who's gonna be playing. Yuck! This new voting system sucks!
Now, people say the voting system sucks every single year, and the NBA changed it this year, and it actually worked out way better than it does in years past.
And why is that?
Because nobody who's starting this year is undeserving. Every single year, it seems like there's one guy who gets voted on in years past by the fans that won't necessarily even be selected as a reserve. This year, Zaza Pachulia, who would have been voted as a starter by the fans, didn't make it. And Dwayne Wade in the Eastern Conference, where there's so many good guards, would have been starting with the Chicago Bulls. And he isn't one of the top 6 best guards in this league at this point in the Eastern Conference.
So you like it? I mean, you think this
it's an improvement.
It's an improvement. Maybe
Yeah,
it can be tweaked a little bit still, but it's an improvement. I agree with that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I mean-
It's not perfect. I think the NBA will review it again and probably consider something next year, and they should, because it doesn't really matter if it's not perfect this time. Just keep trying to find the right solution, because if we had Zaza playing, Dwayne Wade, he's still having a decent season and he's still an excellent player, but if Zaza was starting, there would have been outrage, I think, amongst fans, because he is a good, solid veteran, but he's certainly not an all-star starting quality
No, you're
player.
right. I mean, we're arguing today about whether a guy who's averaging a triple-double, why he's not in the first 5 there in the West. But if Zaza Pachulia had made this, people would
Yeah.
be
And I wonder
going
if
bonkers.
the
They
NBA
would've
will at any point consider just removing positions and just having the best 5 players voted in that same system, because again, no one cares who wins this game. It doesn't matter. And maybe this will open it up so you have a situation where you could have Harden, Curry, and Russell Westbrook on the start. Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe. Look, we used to have a center. We
Yeah.
used to have to vote for
And
a
they
center, and then
removed
the
that.
2 forwards, they removed that. Maybe it eventually just becomes the 5 best or 10
And
best.
we've had
players.
LeBron start once as a center and then as a point
Yeah,
guard. So
no,
it
He's going to
doesn't
be the center this year, right?
Yeah.
Him or
Yeah.
Giannis. I mean,
Yeah.
the system isn't perfect, and that's why they changed it. How do you change it now? Do you give the tiebreaker to somebody else?
Yeah,
to the players in the
maybe.
media? Do you tell the players,
tighten up
hey,
the
you can't vote?
player portion, I think.
Okay, well, Walter, anything else? Are people still upset about this thing?
Well, I was chatting with my main man, Corporate Greg, this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And he was telling me the names of some of the players that got votes from other players. I've never even heard of these guys. Bryn Forbes, Isaiah Whitehead, are these real names? The players didn't take this voting seriously, and I don't like it.
I mean,
Listen,
I think Isaiah Whitehead got squeezed out of the voting. He
Oh, what are we, part of the zit remedy? That's another bad pimple joke. Anyway, if I'm a player and I have a ballot for the first time and I'm never going to make an All-Star game, I'm voting for myself. And even though that vote is inconsequential, it's like you're voting for Jill Stein. I'm still voting for myself. It's such an opportunity.
Yeah,
if I'm Lavoy Allen, check.
Okay, but then they can't turn around some of the players and go, well, the media's stupid. They don't know what they're doing. It should be up to the players. Like, you can't say that and then have players vote for some of these guys you mentioned. Like, there are people that haven't played in the NBA this season, be it Ben Simmons, Chris Middleton. There's many others that were receiving votes. I mean, which one do you want? Like, you either don't get upset with either the media or the fans and they're voting, and that's fine, or you take it a little more seriously, because there were a whole lot of guys. I think 283 different players received a vote.
Yeah.
280, that's bonkers.
Hey, it's a great league. It's the best league it's ever been.
It's insane.
We deserve
that's
we
silly.
deserve to have 203 players in the All-Star game. Well, that's why it's a weighted system. And that's why they didn't have fans have 100% like they used to in the past, or media, or players, because they know, well, I think the majority of the players are going to do a decent job, like they did. And the fans, the majority will do a decent job like they did, and the media as well. So it's weighted, and there have been no screw-ups. Zaza Pachulia isn't playing.
Right.
Dwayne Wade, obviously, an incredible vet, but not one of the best 6 guards in the Eastern Conference when we've got a great crop of point guards in the East.
All right. Well, we did the Drop podcast, as I said earlier today. It's up on iTunes and Google Play. We made our All-Star Reserve picks. So they're out there. You can go listen to this. We have it up on our website as well. And we'll revisit it, I'm sure, next week as we lead up to the official announcement on TNT next Thursday. And then, as I said, that's when we get to the real snubs. All right, Walter, thanks for stopping by, buddy.
Hey, man, always great to see you guys. You know I love seeing you. And remember, hydrate!
Yeah, man, hydrate, brother!
Oh, yeah.
Okay, when we come back, Taz awards the dishonor for worst of the week, and we still got top 10 plays, so don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I think it's more pimple jokes, too. Welcome back to the show. Now's the point of the week. We hand out the dishonor to someone in the NBA family that has done wrong in the eyes of the starters. It's time for the worst of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen, the worst of the week.
This week's worst of the week are the New York Knicks. Yet again, I can smell a worst of the year dishonor comment, because these following headlines all happened in the past 7 days. Carmelo Anthony, if Phil Jackson wants me gone, let's talk. Carmelo Anthony won't allow Phil Jackson to run him out of New York. Carmelo opts to stay with Knicks and sit down with Phil Jackson. Carmelo Anthony says conversation with Phil Jackson was short. Carmelo done caring about Phil Jackson after short summit. Clyde Frazier, Carmelo should keep mouth shut on Jackson. Carmelo, I'm done asking why about Knicks drama. And we're done with Carmelo for now. Brandon Jennings rants about Hornacek's changes as Knicks fall apart. Derrick Rose implores Jeff Hornacek to push team harder. Courtney Lee posted Dumb and Dumber pictures on Instagram after the Knicks benched him and lost. Ben Stiller bonds with adorable son Quinlan at New York Knicks game. Carmelo Anthony called teammate Ron Baker Ron Burgundy? Now that wasn't a question, that wasn't a headline, that's what happened, but that's what the team calls him, so that's fine. And finally, on Thursday night against Washington, Courtney Lee didn't shoot an open 3 to tie the game in the final seconds. Courtney Lee, Wizards assistant, impacted decision to not take final shot. The New York Knicks, your worst of the week. I don't even want to get into the drama. I just wanted to read those headlines.
Yeah, wow.
There's so many good
Read 'em
headlines.
quick there.
And I'm not buying this Courtney Lee thing whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah. Cindy Lowe, Wizards assistant, was on the floor beside him.
No doubt.
There is no doubt. But there's so much time left. It was such a slow play. It was an isolation play. I think he knows that there are 5 Wizards in the middle of the key, that he doesn't think there's actually a Washington Wizard beside him.
Right.
Right? Because it's such a slow developing play. I'm not buying it.
Well, I'll give him actually the benefit of the doubt there. The coach should not be on the court that close to him.
That should have been a technical.
Yeah, it should have been a tech foul, and it said that in the last 2-minute report as well there.
That's right.
The coaches
And he was
have
fine.
to be off the court. Look how close he is to the referee as well there. That's not a good thing for
So
the
you're just not believing sort of Courtney Lee's reasoning of why I didn't shoot because he was there. He shouldn't be there, is what we're all saying.
Oh, no,
and he
no,
was
no.
fined $5,000 and the Wizards $15,000
Yeah.
additionally. But the whole he was yelling at me that he was sort of closing me out. The shot wasn't there. You're not buying.
Yeah, he said, Courtney Lee said verbally that he was stunting. I'm stunting
Yeah.
at you. But the man in the suit to your right, when you're a basketball player with that's all you've done in your life, you know, and this is such a slow developing play, that this guy's not a player.
Better or worse explanation, Courtney Lee explaining a guy standing next to him, or Courtney Lee explaining his Dumb and Dumber posts. What you got?
Yeah, exactly.
Bonus game of what you got here.
Yeah, we talked about this on the podcast today. Our producer Matt said, yeah, Courtney Lee cried wolf. You know, he made up that Instagram story. Come on. He didn't post that and then take it down because people misinterpreted it because he doesn't like Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah.
Like, nobody liked Dumb and Dumber 2.
That's true. That's true. Look, the poor Knicks, though, not only do they get worse of the week, and that happens with Sidney Lowe out there, they also maybe, like John Wall should have been called for a double dribble in this game.
Yeah, right before that.
Exactly. Late in this game, obviously, he gets a huge rebound. He's gone by Brandon Jennings. And, I mean, at first look, I was like, did he put his other hand on the ball? I was like,
hard.
nah, he's just too quick.
Right here.
But, yeah,
That's the
both
double
hands,
dribble.
Yeah, you can't put both hands on the ball. I mean, he's...
And that was also in the last 2-minute report as well.
Yeah,
Which should have been called for it. So,
right.
you
Oh,
know.
so what are they going to replay the game?
I think so, the last 14 seconds.
Yeah, no, they're not. We're kidding. They're absolutely not. It's
But
the
it's
Knicks.
so hard to pick up live speed.
Oh,
right?
well, John Wall's a blur. Absolutely. Again, I saw it. I was like, did he put his other hand on the ball? I was like, there's no way he did that. And then you start seeing the clips come out on Twitter. You're like, oh, he did.
Definitely did.
Yeah, but he's just too quick. Tough week for the Knicks. All right, quick break. When we return, top 10 plays of the past 7 days. Don't go anywhere.
Your buddy Grish, my buddy Grish sent me that.
Back with the starters, it's Friday, which means it's time for us to count down the top 10 plays of the week. It was not easy this week, but at number 10, we lost Chris Paul to injury over the past 7 days, but he gave us this beauty of a dime before he got injured. Look at this
How does he
pass.
know
I don't
where
know. He can see the
Mbamute
future.
is? Yeah, he
Can't
can.
believe you didn't make this the very solid play, Lee.
That was a dunk, that's why I
He's
didn't.
the oracle.
At number 9, Dario Saric, 2 big game-changing blocks here.
Oh, man.
Got his bench up in the fourth quarter. Their biggest win of the season against the Toronto
The
Raptors.
second one's awesome. He's
Look
like
at the
hiding.
Got a piece of the Norman Powell one, and Jared Sullinger, his first game this season. Going to the rack.
out.
Get Eddie! Joel Embiid was chilling on his back on the sideline. He's got to get up.
He's up.
Yeah.
Almost injured him celebrating.
At number 8, it's the king, LeBron James. Going baseline with the very pretty reverse.
That's too easy.
Yeah.
Casual.
He had a big fast break dunk in this one as well, but we picked the reverse. He drops it low, he hammers it. It's too easy for him.
At number 7, Kelly Oubre. A pretty jam. The lefty on Gerald Henderson.
Gerald.
He slow plays this too. He lets
Yeah.
Gerald
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah.
No doubt. He knows he's going to give it to him.
And he did it in pajamas. That's nuts.
Sweet dreams, Gerald.
Let's stick with the Wizards. At number 6, John Wall. Whoop. Through, 3 Blazers there, I think.
I like the Gortat pick.
Yeah, nice
Get
little
outta here.
screen there.
Get outta
Yeah,
here.
that was a bit of an illegal screen, but John Wall showing off the sham godlike handles here. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
And he's pumped about it, too. Look at him going back. Yeah. He's like, that's making the Stars top 10. Let's play some D.
It's nice to see Thaddeus Young again. Number 5 here.
Where did he go?
It doesn't usually hit the top 10.
yeah, that's true.
Oh,
It's
do
never
more
really
of this and he'll be in it.
This is top 5.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that.
Yeah. See some daylight? Thad with the
got it.
thud, yeah.
A good lefty dunk, too. It's great. At number 4, we've seen this guy before in the top 10 plays
Where
of
is
the
he?
week. Zach LaVine.
Oh,
I believe I can fly.
Powell avoided the poster on that
Yeah,
occasion.
there he is.
Yeah.
Your dunk champ. Hope to see him again, of course, in Nolans, defending that crown. We'll find out hopefully soon enough.
Here comes another jam. Kristaps Porzingis, famous.
Where is he?
There he is!
Oh, the unicorn!
He's famous for the putback dunks. That's what he does.
This one's massive.
Yeah. That's pretty.
He just comes screaming in there.
A nice
Otto
little
Porter
stare
has
down.
no idea.
Yeah.
What?
From the unicorn to the Greek freak. He's always in the top 10 plays of the week. Check out this one.
He took off from outside the 3-point line.
And then he pumps it to sort of get around the defender and still dunks it because he has go-go gadget arms.
Man.
Oh, man.
At number 1, we're giving you 4 plays from Joel Embiid.
What?
4 of them.
We're cheating.
Because it was his week. Who's having more fun than this guy?
No one.
A big block defending the rim.
Trust the process, baby.
We're showing you everything that he can do. Defending the rim. And he can get out on the break. He's got the feet work.
Oh, that's nice. Wow. Continue to trust the
Look at
process.
that. The catch.
Whiz
7
checks,
feet.
yeah.
7 feet. Catches it on the break. No problem. Let's get back to the defensive end. in open space. He'll get back and defend the rim
He
again
just killed Zeller.
on Cody Zeller with the lefty, too. Stop it, Joel. Stop it. Now back to offense. The big jam in a half-court set.
Oh, man.
He's giving it to you all. He's giving it everything.
Our top three guys
my.
on the top 10 plays here, all 7-footers, basically,
Wow.
if we're counting the Greek Freak, who, yeah, he's definitely.
It's the big man revolution.
Top 14 of the week. I like it.
Yeah, that's right. I love cheating when it comes to this. All right, one more break when we come back. Lily's very solid play. He cheats with this as well sometimes.
Occasionally.
Sometimes in the top 10.
Welcome back to the starters. If you missed the show a little earlier, Tass gave the New York Knicks the honor of being this week's worst of the week thanks to all of their terrible headlines. And now somebody's mad on the internet. It's Don Vision who says, don't come to the 5 boroughs of New York. Just a heads up. Ooh. Guess what? We're going sometime. You'll never know when.
I go to a story all the time.
We'll tweet you. We'll tweet you when we're coming, but we won't tell you which borough we're going to go to. Tonight's pick and play. Raptors at Hornets. It's on League Pass. Trey, the only one taking the Hornets. That's probably a loss
You
for
just
them.
lost, Hornets!
The Raps for the three of us. Lily, where are we going for very solid play?
We're going to Cleveland for a very unsolid play that turns into a solid play with
Whoa.
a beautiful pass there from Channing Frye to Kyrie with the reverse. Here it is again, nice deflection from Eric, and then Channing says, and Kyrie says, yep, and that's what I call a very solid play. I didn't cheat on it tonight.
Wow.
No, you didn't.
That's your own sound effects.
Yeah, I know.
Whistled through it.
Right.
I like it.
Some great news here. We had a wedgie, folks.
Yeah!
Number 21 on the season, courtesy Zach Levine on
Way to
the
go,
break.
Zach!
Yeah, nice little stick right there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Soft and gentle.
I
Zach
believe
knows.
the PA announcer said wedgie, too. They screamed wedgie. There's the.
On pace for 43 this season. We're slowing because in the playoffs we slowed down, so I'd say that's more about a 41 pace. We're not getting to 50, guys. These players are too good.
All right. Today's Drop Podcast. I highly recommend it because we picked our all-star reserves, and Lee dramatized one of cricket's greatest moments.
Here comes Ketley Ambrose from the southern end into Steve Waugh. Steve Waugh pushes forward. Wait, no run. He really needs to put Mark Waugh on strike. Mark had 126 in that game. Steve Waugh finished 200. Australia won that game, won that match, and won that series for the first time in 31 years.
Your best impersonation, Lee. All right, guys, we'll see you Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, smokers will go to great lengths to have a cigarette, like any length.
Brace the weekend, people. Don't smoke.